What's up, y'all? Today we're starting a new series. I like to call this one Rolling St0wned. So one job that I was always fascinated with as a younger guy was this sort of music journalism kind of deal, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Rolling Stone and we're going to look at it objectively, okay, from a centrist point of view. And what that means is I'm going to be trying to point out some of the bias, some of the wrong information. And honestly, all I'm trying to say is keep your politics out of my music. Rolling Stone's supposed to be a music publication. So I got a couple articles here for episode 1. We're going to take a look at some of the history of this magazine and where they get some of their funding, who owns it, who calls the shots. So the first thing I got here is a media bias fact-checking type of organization. And they've rated Rolling Stone. And let's take a look here. Let's see what they say. And here's the political spectrum. And so least biased is here in the center. And yeah, there's the Rolling Stone all the way over to the left. Not surprising, but also not extreme. Okay. Now, I'm sure not all articles are created equal here, so some might be more extreme than others. Let's take a look at what they say here. Strongly biased towards liberal causes through story selection and or political affiliation. So here's what they do. Strong, loaded words, okay, attempting to influence an audience by using appeal to emotion or stereotypes. So this is what we're going to see in the Rolling Stone. Most people reading the Rolling Stone are going to be musicians, artists, creative types, and I just think it's a little bit sleazy to kind of filter all of your information through this kind of bias. But pretty sure you know what you're getting into reading the Rolling Stone. But let's keep going here. So also omitting reporting of information that may damage liberal causes. And some sources in this category may be untrustworthy. So yeah, here's the thing, like left biased based on strongly left-leaning editorial positions, but they are rated high for factual reporting. I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, but we'll look into that a little bit later. All right, so here's our first article. Rolling Stone's owner sells controlling stake to Penske Media. Penske Media paid a little more than $50 million for its majority stake. And so, a little bit of a payday for Jan Wenner here. She's a real winner. She's a real winner. And so she stays on as editorial director and, has this company that owns half of her company for some reason. Rolling Stone's reputation was tarnished after it published an article in 2014 about an alleged incident at University of Virginia. A subsequent investigation by Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism described the story as journalistic failure that was avoidable. The Rolling Stone had defamed a university administrator identified in the story and awarded her $3 million in damages. So a little bit of a pretty penny there for poor journalism. There was also apparently a separate defamation suit brought by the fraternity, and a third lawsuit brought by 3 fraternity members is pending. So a little bit of controversy here with regards to their journalistic credibility. And let's keep going. So remember that company that owns half of Rolling Stone, right? Penske Media. Who are these guys? Let's take a look. So Penske Media is apparently really good friends with Saudi Arabia. And so there's a Saudi fund, $200 million. Man, I'd like to have $200 million to kick around and invest in a music magazine. So recently closed. So this is in 2018. This is recent. They closed a $200 million direct investment from Saudi Arabian media and publishing company SRMG. PMC has been actively increasing its media holdings and operations. So they're really trying to get a foothold for their liberal causes with Rolling Stone. Okay, so just to make sure you're with me so far, Rolling Stone sells half of its company to this guy, Penske, right? Penske company gets $200 million from the Saudi Arabian company, SRMG. You with me so far? Okay, cool. So who in the world is SRMG? Let's take a look. It prints, publishes various forms of propaganda, publications here, right? And its closeness to the regime of Saudi Arabia. Look at that font right there. Its closeness to the regime of Saudi Arabia has led it to be considered an organ of soft power for the regime in the West, particularly the United Kingdom. So what does that mean? That means the Saudi government can exercise power over Western democracies such as the UK, and now that they own, I guess, a good portion of Rolling Stone, the United States as well. The chairman of SRMG is a guy by the name of Ahmed Bin Salman. And you might not know that name. So, of course, you know, his personal life is so important. And, you know, his war emblems win. And his involvement in horse racing. And way at the bottom of this page, alleged involvement in... I better not say that. Let's call it alleged involvement in airplane malfunction. Yeah, that's... the algorithm should like that a little bit better, right? Gerald Posner claimed that this guy had ties to this organization. There's that font again. Had advanced knowledge of the attacks. Of course, it's all alleged, right? I'm not saying anything is fact, but it's awfully strange, don't you think? So all of this ties together here. You have Saudi Arabia. You have Ahmed Bin Salman, enemy of the West. I think if you asked him, he would probably say that he is. And his company investing in Penske, investing in Rolling Stone. And we look at the media bias here, and it's far left bias. And then we see the article about how the Saudis will often buy media corporations in order to exercise power over Western democracies. So am I saying that Rolling Stone is a puppet publication for Saudi propaganda? I don't know. It's just, I mean, 10, 15 minutes of Googling, I thought I was going to see a bunch of connections to famous musicians and, you know, talented artists and stuff. And, well, what do we find? We find Saudi Arabia, we find connections to 9/11. It's very odd. And so going forward, as we review the very factually based, the very clean fact-checking organization known as Rolling Stone, who paid out $3 million in lawsuits and multiple lawsuits for publishing false information. You know, as we move forward, just keep this in the back of your mind. And for the future installments of this series, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at some of the articles that they put out. We might even review some of their actual magazine stuff. Who knows? We're going to be looking into some of their journalists. We're going to be trying to figure out, are these guys really on the straight and narrow? And what they're doing really benefiting liberal causes? As you all know, I myself am a liberal, more of a centrist type. However, when I see information like this after 10, 15 minutes of Google searching, it makes me kind of doubt their legitimacy. And then you find out they're paying millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits specifically for publishing fake information, defamatory information. We should have a little bit of fun. We should have some laughs. Don't take any of this too seriously. I'm not a doomsdayer. I'm not a naysayer. You know, props to Rolling Stone for continuing to profit off of music journalism, which is a dying art, I would say. Just keep the politics out of my music, really. I mean, you guys in your 20s and 30s that are writing articles for Rolling Stone, y'all are not Hunter S. Thompson. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Have you read the Rolling Stone before? Have you seen any of their articles? Do you agree with their bias? What do you think about the information that I put in this video? So we're still doing podcasts, we're still doing music videos, we're still doing jam sessions, all that. I thought this would be kind of a fun component to add because I've always kind of dreamed of becoming some kind of music journalist. You know, leave a like down below if you like. Leave a comment down below if you want to keep the conversation going. Definitely subscribe if you want to stay on top of all of the content. And yeah, apparently, according to Jan Wenner, started music magazine and sell it to a Saudi Arabian propaganda outlet. And that's how you get the money.